It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Nation TV. And we're coming to you live from CB Gitty. It's the Gitty Gang Show.
Gitty Gang Show.
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 It's the Gitty Gang Show on Cigar Box Nation TV. Well, welcome to this week's Gitty Gang Show, coming to you live from CB Gitty headquarters, the freshly air-conditioned Juke Shack stage. You'll notice a lot less flop sweat this week, I hope, because we've got a great show lined up for you. We've got clips that you, our viewers, and friends and fans have submitted. Going to be showing off some of those, talking about a couple of new products, some song performances, some picking and grinning, because of course this Sunday is Father's Day. So we've got 3 songs picked out for you this week, honoring dads and fathers in general. A couple of little more heavy songs, and then more of a light-hearted one. So hope you enjoy it all. It's going to be a good show. I saw in the pre-show comments that Jim Burt, our good friend Jim Burt, is currently in the air, flying to LA. So safe travels to Jim Burt.
Indeed, Jim.
So I want to start by talking about last week's giveaway. We decided to give away 3 of our DIY amp kits, and 3 winners were chosen from amongst all of you who publicly shared last week's Gitty Gang Show. Just a quick reminder, most of you know this, but any new viewers may not. If you share this post here on Facebook publicly, which means when you click share, there's a little drop down where you choose public, you will be entered in one of our drawings that happen almost every week. Might not be one this week. I haven't come up with anything yet, but we got a couple. Anyway, don't worry. So last week gave away 3 amplifier kits. The DIY amp kit that Shane Spiel, whose name I saw pop up, our good friend Shane Spiel, featured in a recent Guitar World article. I still can't get over the fact that my friend, our good buddy, Shane Spiel, is writing for Guitar World. That is just awesome. Say a quick hello to some of our dedicated viewers. Yes. Look who we got up there. What? Farley, Zola, Viva, Nova, Van Driesen, tuning in from the vast distances of the CB Gitty shop. Farley is coming back into the Gitty shop part-time after a short sabbatical, so we're happy to have her back. We might, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but soon, the 4th member of the Gitty Gang Show will hopefully be joining us more frequently. So, without further ado, the winners of last week's giveaway, each one of these 3 people winning one of our DIY amp kits. We've got Dwayne Yarbrough of Tennessee. Nice. Damon Park of Washington State, out there near Tacoma, I think, our good buddy Damon Park, and Bill McNeely of Arkansas, down there in Arkansas. So if you watch this and you heard your name called out, send me a message on Facebook and we'll get that sent out to you. So congratulations to the 3 winners.
Congratulations. How do Shaq Collins, Gary Meyer, and Martin Schutz? Good to see every single one of you. Did I see Jimmy Circle's out there?
Jimmy Circle.
Doing some good stuff out there, Jim. Good. Glad to see you here.
So it's been a busy week in the Gitty shop. In addition to herself, Farley being back, working on some new guitars. And actually, I should have brought it in. Maybe I'll go grab it during a video break. She brought in something today that just blew my mind. Fabrication with Farley. Good idea, Tom. As you can see, I'm holding the old time clock guitar right now. I'm going to be playing this guitar. I'm going all 6-string this week, believe it or not. If you noticed, Glenn Watt is holding the hobo fiddle, and in the lead up to today's show, you know, we sit here, we noodle around, we talk things over. He kept busting out these riffs. He had a slide going on it. Sanford and Son theme. little bit of Quincy Jones.
Quincy Jones.
Busting out on the hobo fit. I was like, damn, boy.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, because this thing is so well built and it has such low action for comfortable play, it was tough to not knock the slide up and down the fretboard, but this thing is sweet.
You know, I'm not a big slide player myself, but I understand that the knocking of the slide can actually be part of the performance. It can be kind of part of the rhythm, part of the sound. The better slide players out there can chime in on that. If Shane Spiel's still out there, he plays the hell out of the slide. So, I'm going to be playing this. Hey, there's Kim Starling, everybody. Hey, bringing in just a short show off of something that that Farley brought in today. Check this out. Hold my guitar. What? I'm getting up there. I'm coming out of the booth. Yeah. This is, she took one of our Pure and Simple kits. It just got in a new style of box for this kit. It's a bigger all-wood cigar box, and she took it... Slower. Sorry, I just get excited. I get to flipping things around. She took it, painted it black with chalkboard paint, I believe, and then hand illustrated a lot of her favorite things onto this. And if we turn it around, you will see right here on the back one of her favorite things. Who's that right there? Oh, GT Dubs there on the back of the box. But a hand illustrated box. And she did this at our request to show people that these Pure and Simple kits, this box comes blank. And it really is a blank slate that you can take, you can wood burn, you can paint, you can do all sorts of things with it. And this is just one example of that. So we're going to be taking this one, I think Nick has already photographed it, and then I want, to build a finished, it is a finished guitar as is, but to decorate the neck up a little bit, and then to list this as a one-of-a-kind original artwork piece by Farley, and that she can,
good stuff. It's pretty nice having another brilliant artist kicking around making good stuff here. So
yeah, buddy.
Pretty psyched about that.
All right, just need a little top up of the old Joe
Andy
here.
Borders, it's good to see you again. Matthew Simpson, Magic Daddy. Who else?
Henry Lohman.
Oh, Henry. Sean's out there.
Magic Daddy in the Chapel of Groove.
Rob Roble, Brad Barbula, and Claudio Ravello. Good
Janice
to see you.
Wilson
Janice
Hughes.
Wilson,
J-Dub.
J-Dub H.
I'm not sure if she knew that was her nickname here at Gitty, but I hope you don't mind, Janice. All said with love. Actually, Janice, I want to say the other thing I'm going to be playing and showing off this week, and actually we're almost to it, so what a great segue.
Hey.
This guitar is what I've been working on this week. Finished it up yesterday and got her strung up. Was that yesterday? Yeah, must have been. Got it strung up. Well, Janice, her lotion bars that she sent, I've used them now for a number of different things. Of course, on my hands, treating drum heads on the drums we're now selling. Well, yesterday I treated the finish of this guitar with
That's
it,
awesome.
and it just it kind of gave it something special. So this guitar, we did a broadcast about it live from the shop earlier this week. Popped on yesterday as a sort of teaser talking about it. This is the K guitar, the restored K model 3500 acoustic guitar that I found stuffed into a corner of a rundown outbuilding over at a friend's property in Dover, New Hampshire. Once belonged to Irish music great Tommy Makem. As the story goes, Tommy bought it at a yard sale. I'm still not sure why. I got to talk to the next guy in the story, Tommy Hardiman, Tommy Makem's cousin, Tommy Hardiman. Well, Makem bought it at the yard sale, didn't really care for it, gave it to Hardiman. Hardiman had it for a while, gave it to my friend Charlie Boyle, who had it down at the greenhouse, and then it got broken in a night of revelry, as sometimes happened down there at the greenhouse. And it got stuffed in the corner of what is lovingly known down there as Uncle Paddy's cabin. This little wooden structure that, well, I don't want to get too deep into the stories, but to start at the beginning, the city of Dover, New Hampshire was founded in 1623. No, I'm just kidding. Anyway, Uncle Paddy's cabin, it was stuffed in the corner out there and forgot for 10, 15 years, I'm not sure how long, until I discovered it this past fall, I was down there taking part in some revelry at the greenhouse and saw a headstock sticking out of the corner of this old building. I just had a guitar, pulled it out, and we've got some photos here that Nick's going to bring up as I babble on. This is what it looked like on Monday of this week, just a few days ago. You can see that the back had separated, the sides had separated, the glue joints had let go. It was covered in cobwebs and God knows what else. And on the next shot, I think you can see even a little bit better that, well, that's once I started taking it apart. You can see there that, I mean, it was in bad shape, but all the parts were still there. The heel had come loose inside. You can see the bottom end of it there where the sides are kind of jutting in. The heel had come off. The neck heel was all loose. Oh shit! It was bad. I ain't gonna lie. Oh, Big Dad. It was bad. No kidding. So it's been sitting on my shelf now for a few months out there in the shop, and for some reason I went out to my bench actually to work on that box for the next big box guitar, and I got that glued up. And like, well, I don't want to go back to my desk yet. What should I do? I'm like, well, I'll pull down the greenhouse guitar. So started taking it apart, popping apart some of those old hide glue joints, and you can see in the next photo here, and that last one I got the front off, and I got the back off, and it got very dark out in the Gitty shop suddenly. We had a blackout actually, in fact, folks. She all went dark.
The photos just quit for some
The photos, well, bring it back to me live, and there we go, we're back. The lights, where were you when the lights went out in Georgia? Oh, he's got it. So I got the back off, and then, you know, getting the old kerfing out, those strips that join the front and back to the sides, getting everything kind of popped apart so I could start cleaning it up. It was a slow process, trying not to, because some of the glue did not want to let go quite so easily. So the heat gun was involved, heating her up and getting it all, taking it apart. See if you can get that back up while we're babbling away here. And then, you know, once I got all the parts separated, it was time to start working on them and fixing them. The bracing on the front and back had to be glued back down. I actually put the front in the heat press for a little while because it was all curved and warped up. Got the pick guard taken off, did a bunch of work on the saddle. There it is, getting some of the bracing clamped back down. Those ends had popped right up. And of course, you know, on an acoustic guitar like this, the body of it has to be able to support the tension of the strings. All of the bracing, the sides, the front, the back, it all works together to be able to stand up to the strings. And if it isn't strong enough, as I nearly discovered with the time clock guitar, she'll start to fold up on herself. So here I am gluing the tailpiece back in, it looks like, and I'll tell you what, those sides had really kind of gotten out of kilter. They had let go over the years. Here's some of the bracing being glued back down, and just a note about that, for the first time I think ever, I made use of the old bench clamp on my great-grandpa's workbench.
Nice.
It was like, hey, this will do it. I think it's the first time I've ever actually used it. And then Dale, upstairs, I was asking him about bending the sides to get the sides of the bout here back into shape, because they had kind of, I don't know, they had let go. They weren't as tight as they were there in the middle, the waist of the guitar, I guess you could call it. And Dale's like, well, you're going to have to make a form to clamp it to, so you can heat it and clamp it, heat it and clamp it. So I screwed some boards together, traced the back piece, which of course had that hourglass shape I was trying to get to, cut it on the bandsaw, sanded it, and then using the heat gun there and clamp, started slowly working those sides back in. You heat it up, apply pressure as far as it'll go until you hear that first snap. And then, you know, let it cool and then apply some more, go further. Got both sides back in. Then started gluing the kerfing strips onto the front because I'm not by any stretch an expert guitar restorer. I'm not. The most I've ever done is flip through a book on how to build guitars. I used to sell a How to Build Acoustic Guitars book, and I flipped through it once, so I guess I'm an expert.
I'm an
You know,
authority.
I don't want to. So gluing the kerfing strips in and then gluing the front, getting it to fit in there, and a little more heat applied, getting it all clamped in. You can see in the photo there, a lot of clamps were involved. I was raiding everybody's clamp stash throughout the Gitty shop for this, with promises of soon returning them several days later, as it turned out. But got that front glued on, and then proceeded after that. What was next? I'm hoping this next photo shows me. This is actually jumping forward a few steps. I got the neck glued in. The neck had a angled tenon joint, like a miter and tenon, where it kind of fit down into a pocket. I put a couple of screws in through the heel just to help secure it, and then gluing the back on was pretty darn hard, because I pre-glued the kerfing strips to the back and then tried to fit that into the sides, and it did not want to go. It took a lot of working and more heating and getting it, and then getting it clamped and glued. But got the back on, and at that point she's starting to look a lot more like an actual guitar, you know? There she is on the bench. Got the saddle put back on, the pick guard, the nut glued in place. Getting pretty darn close at this point, and then it's a matter of putting the tuners back on. And once we're back to the full screen view, I'll show you the tuners. And just as a historical throwback here, our good buddy William Edward White has one of these K3500s, and he found one of the old ads from back in the 60s, I believe. These things sold for $29.95 new back in the late 50s, early 60s. So it was a student model guitar to begin with, was not a high-end guitar by any stretch. Yeah, here we are back. Finished. I used some stain because I had to sand around the edges. There was a little overlap, so I sanded that down, then applied some ebony stain. A lot of coats of lacquer because I wanted to seal in. Get nice and close here. I wanted to seal in this patina. You can see where it sat out in the weather for so long. The paint chipped off, and it just really shows that it was sitting outside for so long. And I wanted to seal all of that in and keep it looking as close as possible to how it looked when I found it. Also kept the same tuners. I pulled them off, buffed them up a little bit, soaked them in WD-40 to loosen them up, and got them back on there. Did my best soaking it with super glue to keep the old paper K emblem there on the headstock. Same saddle and bridge arrangement. Made my own bridge pins here out of oak yesterday because I got so impatient. I had ordered some from another supplier, but I realized these holes were smaller than standard ones, so I just made my own.
How'd the action turn out?
The action came out pretty high. I refiled the nut, and I've been working on the saddle. It's high but playable at this point.
Yeah, a lot of six-string acoustics will have a higher end.
It doesn't have a truss rod. It is a steel reinforced neck. So she's a little high moving up the fretboard, but not too bad.
I like Brian Lehman's perspective. This is like watching a video of one of those abused dogs being rescued and loved and becoming a beloved family pet. Well done, Brian.
Well, I'll tell you, it was a $30 guitar to start with. This was a labor of love and a labor of preserving a story. Because the story behind this guitar, that Tommy Makem, who is a personal hero of mine, being a fan of Irish and Celtic music, that he bought it at a yard sale, and then it passed through these other people, ended up at one of my favorite places, Charlie's Greenhouse, and to be able to bring it back to life when it was so near, it was pretty close to a pile of kindling when I found it. And then yesterday, tuning it up, I got the first string on it. The middle G string is the first one I put on and tuned up. And the first time it rang out, all right, this is a thing. And of course to just pick out a little Irish tune in memory of Tommy Makem, who once owned this guitar, and from there, all the other strings went on, and that first, you know, giving it that first strum. Pretty cool. Pretty damn cool. So I'm happy with it. It turned out all right. I'm going to be playing this on a song. I've been doing a lot of talking. Good Lord. Not on this next song, though. We'll be pulling this up a little later for a Father's Day favorite. Maybe not a traditional Father's Day favorite, but certainly a favorite of my dad. And a song involving dads. So, thank you for sticking with me through all of that. It was a pretty long story to tell, but I see that some people enjoyed it. And I'll tell you, all through the process, there was a lot of gluing involved, a lot of tight bond too. And all along the way, I was really pushing the limits of tight bond set time. You know, I'd get it on there and clamped for 10 minutes, like the kerfing strips. Okay, 10 minutes, okay, moving clamps, because I only had so many clamps, you know. So some of that glue got pushed a little too far, and I noticed it was starting to pull back away, because tight bond, it's a plasticky sort of glue. I don't know, alphytic resins or whatever. And if you put a joint under stress before it's really set, it'll start to kind of pull away. And so I had to reclamp some things and reglue some things. Joe's Mason there says, a great guitar for slide playing. I don't know if I'll have time today, but you should hear this thing tuned down to open G. And that slide, it's just like it was made for it.
Nice. That's cool.
I'm not much of a slide player, but this guy is
really
picking it right up. Anyway, here is a song that I learned from my friend Jack Crum, who has since relocated down to Philadelphia, where he originally hails from. He and his son Joe, this was one of his son Joe's favorite songs. It's a beautiful song, written by Chet Atkins, actually. Chet didn't do a lot of singing. Of course, he was known as a guitar player. He actually sang this one, I believe, and recorded it. Yeah. So it's a little bit of a sadder song about a man's father who has passed on and how much he misses him. We're not capoing this one, are we? No.
Caught me by surprise.
Surprise! Oh, that's right. Sorry, I haven't been paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm playing the Casey Jones on this, the old Coke crate, and not capoed. Don't worry, folks. Tune in next week. All new show. There we go. When I was young, my dad would say, come on, son, let's go out and play. Sometimes it seems like yesterday. I'd climb up on his closet shelf when I was all by myself. Take his hat and fix his brim, pretending I was him. No matter how hard I try, no matter how many tears I cry, no matter how many years go by, I still can't say goodbye. He always took care of Mom and me. We'd all put up a Christmas tree. He always had some time for me. Wind blows through the trees, streetlights they still shine bright. Old town looks the same, but I miss my dad. All right. Well, thank you. It was a little rougher than in rehearsal, but hey, you'll have that.
You will.
Live DIY TV, folks. So, thank you again for watching. Thank you for sharing this broadcast here on Facebook. If you're watching on YouTube, it's harder to share it, but we appreciate you too. Anyone that takes time out of their day to join us for these shenanigans.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. So we've got a video that I had meant to get into the lineup last week from our buddy Matthew J., who is organizing the Nashville Cigar Box Guitar. Starts with a C. Damn it.
Rusty, are you out there?
No, it's Matt Simpson. It's the Nashville Cigar Box Guitar Soiree Extravaganza. Something like that. It's coming up June 29th. I don't know why I can't remember the word.
It's all good.
Symposium? No, it's not symposium. But it's happening during the Summer NAMM show down there. So, consortium? No, I don't think that's it. So we're really hoping it be a great venue for introducing new people to cigar box guitars. Not necessarily the industry insiders that attend NAMM, but all the other normal people who can be interested in this sort of thing. So here's the video from Matthew J. and friends who got together and put this out. Hope you.
Scary enough? Hi guys, Matthew J., Bill Thompson.
Hello.
I'm that other guy.
And Drew Barasco from Matthew J.'s Ozark Stomp.
In Dubley.
In Dubley. And Dubley. We're coming to you from... Anyway, we're coming to you from Electric Cat Studios here in Kansas City, Missouri.
Yes, we are.
Drew Barasco here is the proprietor of the
crap.
studios. Oh, is Carl here?
Carl's here.
Carl might be here. Carl Chirito just showed up.
Go let Carl in, please.
Bill's going to be a sweetheart and go let Carl in. But anyway, the whole reason that we're here right now is because we just want to say hey to everybody and tell you about what we got going on. June 29th in Nashville, Tennessee, the American Cigar Box Guitar is putting on a fundraiser, and we're bringing in Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band, and we want you to come out and see it and buy a ticket and come to the show and enjoy it and have a good time if you're in the area.
That would be cool.
And I'm going to tell you exactly why
I want to go to that
you should
show.
support the American... You want to go to that show?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
You're going to be at that show, aren't you?
I was planning on it.
Well, we're playing at it, so I hope the hell you're going to be there.
I'll be late.
You'll be late? Yeah. Well, you're a drummer. You're always
I'm
late.
always late.
Exactly. So anyway... Well, yeah. Make a long story short, here's why I think that it's a good thing to support the American Cigar Box Guitar Association. Well, did you know that we're a non-for-profit organization, 501c3? Do you know what that means?
Yes, I did.
And that means in order for us to function, we have to state our purpose.
Fill out a form.
We had to fill out a lot of forms. Actually, we had to fill out a lot of forms and really care about what we're doing.
Are we a church? Do we have to worship
We are
guitars?
not. We are not a church. We do not have to worship guitars.
Thank God.
But
no, I didn't mean that. We're not a church.
But what we do have to do is we do have to serve a community.
Oh.
And what our heart is to do is we want to grow, and we want to be able to support future festivals and events around the country to help grow the cigar box guitar world.
Into bigger cigar boxes?
Into bigger cigar boxes and to bigger cigar box events. And to do that, we're trying to bring in groups that cross over into the cigar box guitar world, like Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band.
They're really big.
They are big. Last year in Clarksdale, we brought in Ben Prestige and Super Chicken, and we're really pushing really hard just to put together great shows and then introduce people who might not be so aware of the cigar box guitar world to the magic of the cigar box guitar. And that's something that I think is a great deal. And we really, really, really absolutely have nothing but respect and love for the job that CB Gitty has done. Ben, you have really just dedicated your life and your company to promoting the cigar box guitar world and promoting events and supporting people that at a grassroots level. And you're an example to everybody, and we really, really, really admire and appreciate what you do. And what we would like to do is be able to come in a place where we can assist you in the great things that you've done. And as a 501c3 non-for-profit organization, the American Cigar Box Guitar Association is not controlled or run by one person, but by a board of trustees. And right now we have 3 trustees, and we could probably use 2 more. Excuse me, we have 4 trustees. That would be Ed Kirk, Steve Arvey, Travis Bolin, and myself. And we could use 1 more to get a 5th person, and so we would love to have somebody on the board who has a different perspective of the cigar box guitar community and things that they could bring. So our hope is, and now Carl's coming in here in the middle of this video and making noises with the door.
Hi,
so he's going to have to bring himself around here and say hi to everybody. So come on, say hi.
Hey,
you
Carl.
can't shake your head no.
This is Carl the
Hello.
Cable Guy.
There's Carl the Cable Guy. Carl the Cable Guy is also a part of Matthew J's Ozark Stomp. But anyway, to make it to make a long story short, Ben, thank you so much for everything that you do. Guys, June 29th, 2018, Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band at Little Harpeth Brewery in Nashville, Tennessee. And this right here is one of the guitars that I'll be playing there. This is made by Balance Guitars out of Tucson, Arizona. And this is a great piece. This is called an Cigar. It's got an Esquire switch in it, and it's got a little, it's got a really nice setup in it. The box itself is filled with poplar, so it's got some good weight. Yes, it is a 6-string, but it's a 6-string. It sounds fantastic, and I love it. And you know what? Alan Bieber of Balance Guitars is going to have several of his guitars there available, and one of them we're even going to give away. So there's some pretty cool things that are happening. Oh, there's Carl. He wanted to show you his hat. Thanks, Carl.
Hey, man, let's squash the fed.
Hey, guys, listen. Hey, we love you. We'll see you in June, on June 29th, Little Harpeth Brewery with Reverend Peyton's Big Damn Band, the American Cigar Box Guitar Association. Thank you so much, everybody at the Gitty Gang Show. At the Gitty Gang Show for what you do. That's really creepy. That's really... All right, I'm going to shut it off before Drew creeps everybody out. Hey, bless you guys. We love you.
Wicked good jokes. Very funny. Yes, sir. Time flies like an arrow. Fruit flies like a banana. Banana! Welcome back. Today's word of the day is showcase. The word is showcase. The Nashville Cigar Box Guitar Showcase is what's happening June 29th down there in the beautiful city of Nash Vegas.
Would it be chow case?
Chow? Yeah, there's a C in it. There's a C in the word, by God. All right, so just want to briefly talk about the new limited edition box kit. I was working on it today, trying to pick a design, as I couldn't decide. So I want to do a quick impromptu poll of you, our viewers. And let me know in the comments which one of these you like best. We've got blank, oh, that's the wrong side. All right, so here's option 1. It's a little more subtle. Camp life, showing an old hunting scene. And this is actual old cigar box art that was on cigar boxes, turn of the century, I think. So we got camp life there, hunting and fishing and men smoking things, good times. So that's option 1. Thank you, Glenn Watt. Option 2 is a little more visually striking and colorful. The old fire chief's car there with the badge. So one of these 2 will be the new limited edition box kit to be available from Siki Gitty. Here's the one being retired.
Are we familiar with this? Are you familiar with what he's talking about? The limited edition graphic box kit? Because this is what it looks like.
Sorry. I'm not familiar with it at all.
Well,
you're not talking to me. Okay, sorry. I just like to insert myself into the conversation.
So these are box kits that Ben has put together, prints these himself. We also, anyways, the limited edition graphic box kits rotates every 2 weeks. This is a fine example of such a thing. And what we're doing now is trying to get you to choose which the next lid's gonna be.
Yeah, they're using numbers on me. So this was 1. Option 1 was Camp Life. Option 2, Fire Chief.
I'm gonna see if I can get a poll going on Cigar Box Nation, and we'll run it and see.
What?
Yeah.
That is a feature.
You can do on
on Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah. I called Mark Zuckerberg up earlier and I was like, listen, Mark,
we need something.
hit the buttons, mash the keys, do what you gotta do, get us some kind of poll thing here.
Yep.
I don't know why I became the want to be Brooklynite while I was talking to
You
him.
think Maki, you think Maki.
Hey, Mark, come on there. All right, there it is sitting on my wallet. What do we got next?
I don't know.
Option 1.
All right, so yes, thank you everyone for sharing your ideas. We probably will end up doing both. Andy Border says do both, but we only do one.
At a time.
Each one is for a 2-week stretch. So this is picking the next one, and we'll probably eventually get to the other one. So,
we had option 1, camp life, and then option 2. What do you call that one?
Fire Chief.
Fire chief.
So now I'm gonna vamp for a minute so Nick can get this set up, because then he has to mash buttons to bring photos up. So back to Father's Day. Thank you everyone who chimed in, tuned in there for the last song. This one is a little less of a tearjerker, and it's not a traditional Father's Day song. I'll give you a hint where we're headed here. It was written by one of my favorites, Johnny Cash, and it's one of the favorites of my dad, Mike Crawford, who sometimes tunes in out there. He works during the day, so he works hard during the day, every day, as a HVAC guy. He's part of a handyman service
Nice.
in the town I grew up in, Marblehead, Ohio, and can pretty much fix and do anything. I'd love to get him to come up to do some stuff around my house, but he probably wouldn't consider that a vacation. But gonna send this one out to my dad, and then I'm gonna play this restored K guitar here on it. And Glenn, I forgot my own stage direction. I got to adjust the camera a little bit to get
Oh, jeez.
up into the upper echelons of Gitty Gangery. Can you raise that mic up a little bit? Boom!
Boom!
There we go. All right.
That's the one.
So Glenn is, of course, on the wash tub bass. There she is, Danger Explosives. And we were commenting earlier that this bass, it seems to be getting louder.
It does seem to be getting louder.
Getting louder as we go here. And I've heard with fine instruments like mandolins and such that vibrational, what do they call it? Like vibrational aging? Not aging.
Jim
but
Morris, you're out there.
Jim Morris knows.
What's the answer?
They do it with fiddles, they do it with mandolins. Like the more they vibrate, it's supposed to be one of the reasons the Stradivarius sounds so good, is how long it's been played, and like the wood and the wood fibers and all of the stuff does things from vibrating. So that is definitely what's happening with this here wash tub gut bucket. Alright, so we're going to do a little boy named Sue.
Hello.
And just before we do, I want to just have a little picture of my own dear dad pop onto screen here. There he is, riding a motor scooter in his driveway, making a face for the camera. That's my dad, Mike Crawford, right there. Send this one out. Oh, there we are together.
Hey.
Doing the Lord's work at a bar I used to tend, Jamestown Tavern, there in Marblehead, Ohio. It's, coincidentally, while working at that bar, it's where I hatched the idea of moving to Maine. Mostly to get away from that bar. All right, here we go. You ready, Glenn Watt?
I'm trying, yes.
Oh, he's trying. He's hanging in there. He's a good man. Well, my daddy left home when I was 3, and he didn't leave much for Ma and me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Well, I don't blame him 'cause he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue. Well, he must have thought that it was quite a joke, and he got a lot of laughs from lots of folks, and it seems I've had to fight my whole life through. Some guy would giggle and I'd get red, some guy would laugh and I'd bust his head, and I tell you, life ain't easy for a boy named Sue. Well, I grew up quick and I grew up mean, and my fists got hard and my wits got keen. I roamed from town to town to hide my shame. And I made me a vow to the moon and stars that I'd search the honky-tonks and bars and kill that man that gave me that awful name. And it was Gatlinburg in mid-July, and I just hit town and my throat was dry, and I thought I'd stop and have myself a brew. But an old moon on a street of mud, there at a table dealing studs, at the dirty mangy dog that named me Sue. I knew that snake was my own dear dad from a worn out picture that my mother had, and I knew that scar on his cheek and his evil eye. Well, he was big and bent and gray and old, and I looked at him and my blood run cold, and I said, "My name is Sue. How do you do? Now you're gonna die." Yeah. Well, I hit him hard right between the eyes, and he went down, but to my surprise, he come up with a knife and cut off a piece of my ear. But I busted a chair right across his teeth, and we crashed through the wall and into the streets, kicking and gouging in the mud and the blood and the beer. Well, I tell you, I fought tough for men, but I sure can't remember when. He kicked like a mule and he bit like a crocodile. I heard him laugh and then I heard him cuss, and he went for his gun, but I pulled mine first, and he stood there looking at me, and I saw him smile. He said, "Son, this world is rough, and if a man's gonna make it, he's gotta be tough, and I knew you wouldn't be there to help me along. So I give you that name and I said goodbye, and I knew you'd have to get tough or die, and it's that name that helped to make you strong. Now you just fought one hell of a fight, and I know you hate me and you got the right to kill me now, and I wouldn't blame you if you do. But you ought to thank me before I die for the gravel in your guts and the spit in your eye, 'cause I'm the son of a bitch that named you Sue." Well, what could I do? What could I do? Got all choked up and I threw down my gun. I called him my paw and he called me his son, and went away with a different point of view. And I think about him every now and then, every time I try and every time I win. If I ever have a son, I think I'm gonna name him Bill or George, any damn thing but Sue. I still hate that name. Boo, 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 boo. Oh, there's a lot of words in that one. Good Lord. And some of those changes, you know, when Johnny Cash recorded that, at least the version I know, there were some of those like held notes and pauses, and the timing, trying to do it just like Johnny did, it's pretty darn hard. So thank you.
Too much headroom.
Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully the audio wasn't overdriving during that. Too much headroom! Oh, jeez. Where's the cameraman? It's hard to get good help these days.
Glenn, you make a fine ballerina, my friend.
I'm gonna do my pirouettes.
Well,
People
if
want
you
to see it
tuned
now.
If you tuned in for yesterday's teaser vid, you got to see a little bit of the Watt shuffle there.
The Watt Trot.
The Watt Trot, that's what it was.
I believe my good man Shaq out there suggested the Watt Squat.
No, we don't need, the world doesn't.
Maybe it wasn't. No, it was Shane. Shane.
That sounds like Shane. Shane Spiel's got away with the words. All right, so that's 2 out of our 3 pickin' and grinnin' performances today.
Yes.
We've done our live poll. We thank you again for liking and sharing, you know, here on Facebook. If you're watching on Facebook, liking the Cigar Box Nation page. And while you're just clicking away there, liking the Gitty page, what else? Sharing and liking this broadcast. We appreciate all of it. We really do. Makes us feel better because neither of us were previously in our lives particularly inclined towards performance.
No.
I got over some of that while playing with the Irish band Bradigan, but you know, this getting up on this stage here in front of a camera and just talking and playing and singing and not just collapsing into a pile of quivering sweat at any given minute. He hides it well, but yeah, we thank you for it.
2 Hawks, it's good to see you, sir.
Steven.
It's been a while.
Farley likes the Watt Trot.
Watt Trot.
It's a good thing. If she didn't like it, you'd be in a heap of
It's true.
be in a heap of trouble, I ain't gonna lie. All right, hey, there's William Edward White. Thank you, William, for letting me know the model.
In the corner, right?
Yeah, letting me know the model on this. After you said that, I can just barely inside there, mostly obscured by paint overspray. There is a 3500, which helps confirm that this was a K model 3500. And I tell you what, I love it. It's not a cigar box guitar, it's not a homemade guitar, but pretty darn close considering what it came back from. All right, so it's time for...
Huzzah! Yeah, buddy. All right, so we got here Watt Corner. Now, these are the things that you share with us and then we turn around and share with all y'all. All that's good stuff. So these are all y'all. I said it. So I'm gonna get comfortable here, and I don't actually have official paperwork again this week because I'm using my mobile device. So please forgive me for staring at this electronic thing while I'm talking to you. But to get this thing going, I'm sorry to see that Jim Burt, our good Jim Burt Roll Tide, is not with us live today. Hopefully he'll be seeing us later. But that is our good friend Jim Burt and our other good friend, One Hand Dan Russell. And Jim sent this in, which I'm glad he did. He's got for Dan, what he had given to Dan in this picture is a special build, a left-hand guitar for One Hand Dan. It's a walnut box, a cherry neck, a piezo pickup. Some cool stuff about that, however, for me, is it's a deer antler bridge and a 7-inch spring inside the box for a little reverb. And what's cooler than all that is that we know these guys, and they're great people in the community. And it's just good to see good folk sharing music and smiling and sending us pictures of it, and I love it. So I hope you like it too. Now, next, which my good man Nick has for you, is a picture from Larry C. Oh, look at that. It's a limited edition graphic box kit that Larry C. bought and then made into a guitar. Good job, Larry, if you're out there. I love this thing. It's his 6th build, made for, pulling my heartstrings, his 11-year-old son, who loves trains. So go figure.
Who doesn't?
Who doesn't love trains? All parts were purchased from CB Gitty. Thank you very much, Larry. It turns out that's kind of a big deal for me. I appreciate that. And Nick has been kindly waiting for me to tell him something about which image is next. I'm doing a terrible job this week. And here he goes, just doing it anyways. Thank you very much, Nick. This, what you see under there is, the reason I wanted to show this one is that is an acrylic overlay that we sell on the fretboard, the fingerboard, and underneath it, although this image doesn't capture it perfectly, what I really enjoy about it is it's that red swirl perloid adhesive graphic underlay that we have that goes underneath the acrylic. Looks really sharp on this Oversea limited edition graphic box kit. And the last image that Nick has for you, which I'd like to cite because this is becoming more and more of a thing. People are recognizing the value in this. Thank you to Shane if you're still out there. Is that 4-band equalizer that we sell. They can stick right in our box kits and use the rod piezo pickup. They sound amazing. I finally came around to them. They sound great, Shane. And I'm glad that, Larry, you chose to use one too. So thank you very much for sharing this with us, and more importantly, for sharing this with your 11-year-old son. That's really awesome stuff. Next we have, and from Magic Daddy, Nick has a picture from you from Magic Daddy Matthew Simpson. Now, Matt, if you're still out there, you did one heck of a job with this, and this is some really good stuff. I may be a little sloppy with how I get through this, but forgive me. It's just because this thing's so awesome, and I'll get to it with this. Because Matt writes in, this is a Pirate's Psycho Booty box. Now I'm going to let that sink in. It's a Psycho Booty box. Now if we don't turn around and maybe get our own line of Psycho Booties, I would be embarrassed. And now I'm trailing off. Ellipsis.
Hey, I'm just trying hard not to bring you to the playground.
It's a Psycho Booty box from Matthew Simpson. It's a humongous Rocky Patel The Edge box. So in this image that you see, it's 2 3-inch 15-watt RCA speakers, an old Honeytone that has been reworked and capped, and a Psycho distortion chip. In the next image that Nick has you from Matthew Simpson, you can see the crossbones are birch plywood engraved with his Dremel, his rotary tool, and stained with Minwax honey. And in the next image, what we have for you are the skull carved wood. Can we go to the next one, bud? I'm sorry.
This one?
Hey-oh, yeah, let's do that one. And I just talked about that. Can we go to the next one now? Because I'm doing great here. Perfect. I love that.
The order up too. So
yeah, no, it's all me. Can we go to the next one now? Thank you very much, Nick.
Was it that one?
Yeah, that's
Okay.
perfect, man. You just keep throwing them out there, right? Sorry. So this is really cool on the side here. I'm really psyched that Matthew shared this because what he's got is on the top is an in-out for the distortion chip. In the middle is for the amp. And then on the bottom is the jack line out. He's got all his electronics controls on the side, makes it really fine-tune it. Which, I don't know, Matt, you do some really cool stuff. Like, what I really appreciate about what Matthew does is that he's willing to, unlike me a lot of times where I like to stay conventional and stay within certain parameters because I'm going to get known results, Matthew really pushes the envelope and tries different things and comes out with some really cool results. And then the next, I think, and possibly the last image we have from Matthew Simpson, and I just wanted to point out was that there's he's got these rainbow mesh covers to the speakers that were once a wire basket, and he used the CB Gitty skull sound hole cover as a template for them, and I don't know, all really good stuff. So thank you very much, Matthew, for sharing that. I really appreciate it. It's been good time connecting with you and seeing what you have to share with the community. And we're going to move on here quickly because I am stumbling today. So good stuff, right? Good stuff. I just want to reference the newsletter that we sent out this past week and something that Ben shared in it that I think is really important and is important here for Father's Day and then the final set of images that we're going to have for you. And that is, I'm going to quote the newsletter. Hopefully you're subscribed to it. It's the Gitty Crafter Supply newsletter. And much like the Cigar Box Nation newsletter that's shipped out every week, it's just small bits of information. It's not always just like what we have to sell you. It's small bits of information that are there to engage you, to entertain you, to inform you, to inspire you. And every week I get a little bit out of Ben's head. And I don't get this stuff verbally. I get to read it. And it really makes me feel good about what we do here and what you do out there and what you share with us. And as it relates to the K guitar, Ben shared in the newsletter, as with many things involved in our hobby, the value of the story behind this instrument far outweighs any actual monetary value. Anytime you can use materials that have a great story behind them, do so, because that story gets carried forward into what you create and lives on. And I think that is what's so spectacular about what we do, is that we have these small bits of stories that go along with everything that we build, regardless of whether it's in these conventional parameters that I tend to stick to, or whether it be somebody who pushes the envelope like Matthew. The stories that are behind the things that we create are really touching and really add value to what it is that we make, the art that we make. And then the last, you guys are putting up with me, the last, I'm going to rifle through this. This is from Mark E., our good friend out in California. Mark E. sent in some images. His first, and actually, Nick, I'm going to leave this one up to you because there's a lot going on here. And as you see fit, if you want, I think there's 5 there, you can kind of cycle through them back and forth, whatever you choose. Because Mark E.'s got a bit to share, and I thought that would be important for us. I'm going to try to get some highlights. This is his first Cigar Box guitar build, and was his introduction to woodworking, so he was sure that he would screw it all up. But as Mark writes, he didn't. And I'm going to quote the rest. I used my least favorite box just in case. First of all, I took a big shortcut by purchasing a prefab neck and fretboard, thank you. Glad I did, made it lots less intimidating. I braced the inside of the box with some square dowels I found in the scrap pile. I had to buy everything as I had no clamps, glue, file, or saws. And that's because he had never done any woodworking before, and he chose to use Cigar Box guitars as his introduction into making. I made a lot less mistakes because of this. After fitting the neck and stringing it up, playing it, I was so proud I started another. But I couldn't leave it alone after seeing and hearing the video of the preamp equipped on the Cigar Box guitar, so I ordered one, and I'm going to actually get through that. I installed all this in the Cigar Box guitar and the speaker in a small round can because he bought all this stuff to put in, and as you can see it right here, as Nick has highlighted, it's got multiple jacks for multiple effects, multiple amps, and all sorts of controls on it. This was his first guitar, and I love the fact that he just...
Did he mention anything about feedback or how that all kind
He
of
actually did.
Out? Did he?
He did not. I'm sorry. He did not. No, and that's a great question because a lot of people who install amplifiers right directly into their boxes do suffer that problem. I know there's a way around it. I'm not the guy to ask about that kind of stuff, but it has been done.
I'm interested to see if he came up and how he solved it. And
absolutely.
It looks like a lot of inputs there. So
I know there's
a
lot
of
going on.
grounding in there.
There's a lot going on. And as a young adult, he tried to learn guitar, as Mark writes, but wasn't ready for hard work and the time it takes to learn the normal way. This time it was much different. He didn't take it seriously at all, the actual building. He had fun with it. Go figure. He had fun with building a Cigar Box guitar. It's a stick in a box, for crying out loud, he writes. Carried it around in the trunk of his car, playing it whenever he was bored. Started watching videos of people making amazing music with a stick through a box thing, like Shane Spiel. I started doing lessons on YouTube, just the really easy ones at first. I remember the first time I played, at least to my ears, along with my favorite song and actually got it right. I played it again just to make sure, and it brought tears to my eyes. Now I can grab any one of my CBGs and play to my satisfaction almost all my favorites, and I'm working on the rest every day. I am now in my 4th build. I love this image, by the way, Mark. If you're out there, that you have a motorcycle on carpet. I like it. I hope everyone else there does too. I am now in my 4th build and plan on giving away a few more to make more room. The feeling you get from learning to play a Cigar Box guitar is only enhanced by building that very guitar yourself. If I had no other experience in I had no experience in any of this 5 months ago, if I can do it, so can you. I think that's an amazing message. Thank you very much, Mark, for sharing that all with us. There's something really special about building and playing, and more importantly, sharing it with the people that you love. So I really dig that. Go ahead. It's Walk Corner.
Hey, we're back.
That was a lot quicker than I thought.
That was a short segue. Well, thank you, Glenn. Yes, thank you, Glenn, for that Watt Corner. He was here beating himself up over how it came out. It's like it was heartfelt. That's what matters most of the time.
Do you think they would? Do you think they'd like the show as much as if it was like all seamless and nothing went wrong?
Well, I can tell you, I wouldn't like it as much.
It wouldn't be as much fun, I don't think, if we were sitting there in suits, you know.
That's true.
I don't even own a suit.
And it wouldn't be a week if I didn't fluff something.
I hear you.
All right. So this is a song that I wrote for my grandfather, Irvin Baker, who there he is on screen, a little photo inset of him on a BSA motorcycle he restored back in the late 90s, I believe it was. And I'm behind him. So he passed away a couple of years ago, and ever since, I stood up and spoke some words at his funeral service. And I've been wanting to take some of that and make a song out of it. So I finally got it worked out here. I'm going to try to get through it without tearing up. 5-1 against. And this is in, you can see I'm playing the time clock guitar, and we're capoed at the 4th, which makes it in the key of E. Glenn Watt does not have a capo for the upright bass there, so he's just going to be doing it clean.
Doing it clean.
If I don't screw it up like I did the last one.
Hey.
You always took the quiet and the careful way. You always thought so hard about what he had to say. He'd let the ones he loved make their own choice. I never heard the man raise his voice. Well, though the years have come and gone, I'm getting older, moving on. I still see him smile at me. He's still the man I'm trying to be. His life was hard, never had that much. Through the Great Depression, you know, times were tough. When his country called, he went to war. Had what he'd worked for, never asked for more. Well, though the years have come and gone, I'm growing older, moving on. I still see him smile at me, but he's still the man I'm trying to be. He worked so hard and gave his best. He raised his family, stood the test, tried to find the good times when he could. He loved going fishing and working with wood. Well, though the years have come and gone, I'm growing older, moving on. I still see him smile at me. He's still the man I'm trying to be. He was a man of simple, quiet ways, and he guided me through my boyhood days. Yeah, he filled in as a dad for me. He's still the man I'm trying to be. Well, though the years have come and gone, I'm growing older, time moves on. I still see him smile at me. He's still the man trying to be. Yeah, he's still the man I'm trying to be. There you go. That's for my grandpa. He was a good man, as I tried to write about in that song. I didn't really get to know my dad until I was about 14, through no real fault of his own or of anyone's. But yeah, my grandpa, growing up, he was pretty much a dad to me, and I'm proud to have known him. So thank you for tuning in and watching that. As Glenn Watt adjusts the camera here, you got it. You got it, buddy. Yeah, there it is. So, coming events and announcements. As we mentioned, the Nashville Cigar Box Guitar Showcase, June 29th, down there in Nashville, Tennessee. We've got other festivals and events coming up. The Ozarks Cigar Box Guitar Fest, I believe, in August. The York, Pennsylvania Cigar Box Guitar Festival going on there. 9th year? 9 this year? I think it's 9. Maybe 10. Boy.
Last year was, yeah, 8, I think, so 9.
Yeah, 8, 9. Who's counting? Well, they are, apparently, but we're not. So yeah, all sorts of good stuff coming up and going on. Happy Father's Day. Thanks, Marty, for the reminder. A happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. And yeah, we're going to have a good weekend. Got a lot of stuff coming up. A lot of stuff for next week. Next week's show. Brace yourselves. It's going to be a regular hootenanny here on the Gitty stage. We might have to have the whole stage involved. Multiple cameras. Hey, Jim! It's going to be a singing session. Our good buddy David Comtois is coming up. Tyler Foss is going to be in here. We're going to get Kim Starling in here. Me and Glenn, Nick might jump up on stage and perform one. It's going to be...
I'm planning on it.
It's going to be a good time. It's just going to be a low-key jam session sort of thing. Not really pre-rehearsed or scripted. We're just going to have fun, make some music, kind of as a kickoff to summer, because it'll be the 22nd, just a day after the summer solstice, something. Who we got coming in the Juke Shack stage here? Kim Starling.
I didn't agree to it.
Didn't agree to it? No, apparently she's not in. No hootenannying for Kim Starling. All right, well, something's happening here. I need a guitar. Oh, how about this? There you go. I said I was only going to be 6 strings today, and I lied. Spin the Gitty Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. Spin the Gitty Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. It's fast. And we came to you live from CB Gitty. That one wasn't there. Spin the Gitty Gang show.
Gitty Gang show.
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 Spin the Gitty Gang show on Cigar Box Nation TV. All right, thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.
I love you, Dad.